G'day, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to give you a proper, deep, thorough walkthrough of our caravan. So we've been living in this now for 13 months if you don't follow us regularly on YouTube or our socials. We're not done yet, we're going back to WA at the moment, but we've still got a bit of travel plans. But yeah, we're going to give you a good thorough walkthrough of our van, what it's got on it, what we've changed since we've had it, how we use storage space inside, and anything else we can sort of think of along the way. So I'll start. It's a 2020 model New Age Roadout 21 foot Bunk ensuite Adventurer Plus. That's a big mouthful. So essentially it's 21 foot, it's got double bunks, it's got an ensuite, so it's a separate toilet and shower combination inside, and it's the Adventurer Plus, so it's got a semi-off-road suspension, but yeah, it holds its own pretty well, you'll see that. It's the Cruisemaster CRS2 suspension, and being the Adventurer Plus, we've got an external shower, which we don't actually use that often. We did in the early days, but not so often anymore. Where to start? Let's start at the front. So it is a Walkinshaw chassis. That name might sound familiar to some of you. So Ryan Walkinshaw is HSV. Back when they were building cars, racing cars, the HSV racing cars in Australia, they're no longer doing that. So now they build these. So it's a Walkinshaw chassis, and any new van coming out now has the version 2.0 of this, but we've not had any problems with our chassis. Originally it just did come with a 50mm ball hitch. We've replaced it with the Cruisemaster DO35, so the drop-on 3.5 tonne off-road hitch. I recommend that hitch to anyone, regardless if it's an on-road or off-road van. That is brilliant. It's meant to be a lot safer, so if the van rolls behind, it supposedly won't take the car with it. And then off-road, that's just brilliant. It's such a great bit of gear. We really rate that. Then we've got the stone guard. So a lot of people run the stone stompers, and I think they are a brilliant idea. So they're like a mesh netting that runs between the car and the front of the van. That would protect a lot more stones, but when we left we didn't really have the time to do it, and this has sort of held its own, that we haven't bothered replacing this. It was just an extra cost. We have had a few stones go through, only light ones. You can just sort of see where it's chipped the paint a little bit, but this does a pretty good job to catch most of it. It's just from Coast to Coast, an online RV store, but we've got it from a local caravan store in Mandurah. So, easy to install. I fit it myself in like an hour. And yeah, like I said, it's caught most of the rocks. You know, we've been on the data track, we've done it, took the van all the way to the top of Cape York, and only a few little stone chips have gone past, so it's done a pretty good job. We don't have an extended drawbar or toolbox. Some of them do come with that. It's something I would have loved, but apparently it adds a lot of tow ball weight, and this combination between the van and my 100 series cruiser, I can't really afford any more tow ball weight, so we opted not to go for that, and we bought this off the showroom floor, so we didn't really get much of a choice anyway. So we've got the two gas bottles at the front, and then I've just got this duffel bag, and I just keep the grey water hose, the freshwater hose, and the jockey wheel in that bag, and that way nothing bounces out. It's ocky strapped in, excuse me, and it becomes a bit of a dirty bag as well. We just throw wet shoes in there or whatever. It works pretty well. I would love a toolbox, but like I said, can't really afford it with this combination. Then we've also got a big tunnel boot that goes all the way through. I'm not going to bother pulling all that out, but essentially what we keep in there is two of these tables, the split wheel chop, not wheel chops, the wheel ramps, a little table that sits between our chairs, the sea gear mat that we've got down here on the floor. Brilliant bit of gear, especially for the sand from the beach or through the red centre of Australia. Yeah, awesome bit of gear. That's an accessory I'll definitely highlight. That lives in there. Our Ziggy lives in there as well. We chose the Ziggy because the lid rolls around and fits underneath, so you don't have to modify it to fit in there. And then I keep a privacy screen. I carry a bit of spare oil for the car because I do have an oil leak, and our camp oven. That all fits in there quite nicely. I've still got a little bit of wiggle room if I play better Tetris, but at the moment that's all I need to put in there, so that's what goes in there. I'll take you for a walk around, so I'll show you. So we've got a three-way fridge. So gas when we're off grid, 240 volts when we're connected to power in like a caravan park, and then 12 volts from the car while we're driving. So they are notorious that they don't run very well when it's hot, and currently we're just outside of Bitter Springs in the Northern Territory, and it's November. It's hot, so we run this like quarter or half length privacy screen, and what that does, it actually shades the two fridge vents and Liam's bunk window as well. And it's amazing the difference it makes to keeping the outside of the van cool just by having this privacy screen. So the van already came with the guide rail. I can't think of what they're called. Sail track. It already came with a sail track at the top there. So we just run that out and it works pretty well. The water fill tanks are on this side. So we have two freshwater tanks. Each of them are 110 litres, so we carry 220 litres of water, and we do that quite regularly. We spend a bit of time off grid, and all we do is filter everything going in with the Stefani Universal Caravan filter from Bunnings. We have heard the brand Best, B-E-S-T, water filters are the best on the market, but none of them were available when we went to buy the first one of these, and then we were in a remote town when I had to refresh it and get the next cartridge, so couldn't get one of them there either. So when this one's due for replacement, we'll look to get one of those Bests and give them a whirl. We carry all that water a lot of the time, like I said, because we do spend a fair bit of time off grid. That's why we don't carry a lot of accessories, and you'll see that. That's why we don't have the toolbox. That's why we don't carry push bikes. We like to carry a lot of water. We can make that last 6 days off grid pretty comfortably. We can stretch that a little bit further if we need to, but 6 days is pretty good. We'll yeah, if we really wanted to go off grid for longer than that, I'll get a water blower for the car, but at the moment we haven't done any longer than 6 days in one spot, then we're moving anyway. I got an extra battery installed, so we just run AGM batteries. So we've got two 100 amp AGM batteries, and we got 300 watts worth of solar on the roof. It came with one battery and one solar panel. All I did was add an extra solar panel and an extra battery, and we got a 3000 watt inverter installed in the back cupboard, but I'll let Clem show you that when she runs you through the inside. That just allows us to run the washing machine, charge laptops and stuff like that. And then we've got a grey water tank. So that's 110 litres, so we can essentially empty one, fresh water tank into the grey water. So it should last 3 days off grid in theory. But when we're parked up here, we just run it out like so. Coming around to the back, we've got a good solid bar. It's reinforced twice, so it is the stronger version of this bar. It hugs the van quite close, but we don't carry anything extra on the back. We've just got the spare wheel, and then we carry this dirty gear bag, I suppose. So we actually keep our collapsible fire pit in there. We use it to collect firewood, just like little bits along the way, and then it becomes a dirty gear bag as well. So that's what we carry on the back. We've got a Safety Dave reversing camera. It came standard on the van, and it is brilliant. I've got it angled so I can just see this at the bottom of the screen, but I can see a good chunk behind me as well. So then when I'm reversing the van, I do have some pretty good vision, and it's got a microphone so I can hear Clem guiding me when we're coming back in. Over this side, we've got our toilet cassette hatch. We've got a 240 volt plug. We've got a 12 volt plug, and we've got an antenna. So that antenna is for setting the TV up outside. We do have another antenna port on the other side that I didn't show you. That's if we're in a spot where we can't get TV reception and they provide like cable run TV. You can plug in like an external antenna, I suppose, on that side of the van. We've used that once when we were in Cairns. But we don't watch a lot of TV, it's mainly just ABC Kids for Liam. Picnic table, 2 external speakers, and then yeah, the Ziggy, excuse the nappy, it's only a wet nappy, we've just been for a splash in the pool. Yeah, the Ziggy sits on a table. Some people put them on slides, we didn't want to. A lot of the time we've been parked up, we've been uneven anyway, so you'll be cooking quite high up. And now there's a new rule that the barbecue connected to a van's bayonet fitting has to have a flame out, and Weber's and Ziggy's don't have them. So the idea is if flame goes out, it'll cut off the gas. These won't do it, they'll just keep releasing the gas. So you're not supposed to use them with the Caravan gas bayonets anymore anyway. But I've always carried a little 4 kilo one because we like to move the Ziggy around depending on what our setup is. Sometimes we want at the front, sometimes we want at the back, so on and so forth. We've got a nice big awning. The brand is Carefree on ours. Some of them come with Domestics, I think. And we've got a full, it's like an annex, we call it a shade room, so it's no canvas, it's mesh screening that all zips together, and we can use the individual parts like a privacy screen. So I'll put a little picture or a clip in here just to show one of those times that it's been set up. We haven't used it for a little while now, but we were using it pretty well every week. It made it a lot easier to manage with Liam when he was younger, and we've got the 2 dogs with us as well, so it gave us another room where everyone was enclosed, and they couldn't run off. That's about it, I think, for the external. I'll show you quickly where that antenna port and the hot water system, not hot water, the outdoor shower is. So that's the external entry for the antenna, and then our hot water, keep doing that, that's hot water system. This is the outdoor shower. It's basically just a hot and cold tap and then a little hose that you can run out. Right, I think that is everything I need to run you through on the outside. Like I said, Cruisemaster CRS2 suspension, so it's trailing arm, spring loaded dual shock suspension, like so. And then I've done some like cable plumbing protection for the times that we've gone off grid, and nothing's failed us in that sense. We've had a few of our own issues along the way, running too high tyre pressures on the Unadilla, rattled a few things loose, but otherwise the external of the van has held up beautifully, and we can't fault it. Alright, I'll pass you over to Clem inside and she can give you a run through of the inside. Okay, inside, so slight change of plans. Liam is being a little bit of a mama's boy, and won't leave Clem's side enough for her to do this, so I'm going to give you a run through of the inside of the van. So I figured the easiest way to do this is just start from front and work our way towards the back, and like it's not just going to be like a walkthrough. I'll try and explain what we use each sort of cupboard for. This is what's worked for us over the last 13 months of travel. It has changed a few times, and we're going to be doing a cull again shortly. We're going to be parking up with my mum for about a month, so we'll be offloading some stuff there, because just stuff that Liam's outgrown or things that we've just accumulated along the way that we don't really need, so we're doing that soon. Anyway, to start with, near the front door, so we installed a hat rack. It's just screws along into the back there, as we were just sick of not having anywhere to hang our hats, and that seemed like a good spot for them. So we've each got 2 hats. I've got a cap and I've got my bush hat, which is outside. Clem's bush hat has now become Liam's, so she's got a cap and her hat, and then Liam's got a couple of bucket type hats. You can never have too many hats. At the front we've got the big wardrobes either side of the bed. We hang all our shirts, Clem's dresses, skirts and stuff like that, and then these top ones are for like shorts and exercise clothes and stuff. So mine just get wedged up there because I don't really fold. I'm not going to open Clem's, it's impolite to go into a lady's wardrobe, but like I said here, I hang all my shirts down the bottom. Like I put my spare pair of sunglasses, my book goes in the bottom, and then tucked right at the back is like my jeans and stuff like that, stuff that I don't need all the time. Like winter they came to the front, now it's summer they've been pushed to the back. We use the long drawer here for underwear, and then the bottom cupboard is for like shoes, yeah, stuff like that. I've got some spare cables and stuff, like the Apple TV lives down in my one, and yeah, that's about it. I've got my Kirigo here helping me. Under the bed, I don't think I'm going to be able to lift that while she's on there, but we keep 2 swags. We've got a double and a single swag that rolls up and fits in there, and then we've just got a couple of tubs at the front. So at the front, like in those tubs, we've got like our Liam's health book, we've got the folder for all the new age stuff, we've got our work boots under there for when we stop and do work, got some big thick jumpers and stuff live under there, and a few of Clem's like arts and crafts stuff that she doesn't want Liam to get his mitts on, so not too much lives under there. The swags take up most of that space. We keep our bin down in the corner, just because I don't really walk down my side of the bed anyway. I sort of just climb in. I find it a bit too narrow, so that's a good spot for the bin. It's out of the way, it's on the floor, it doesn't get kicked or anything, and Liam can put stuff in it because he likes putting stuff in the bin, so that works for us. We moved the fire blanket down to next to the kitchen here. It used to hang up here next to the fire extinguisher, but we wanted to coat back there, so we put it there. good spot. It's within reach, but you're not reaching over potential fire on the stove. We do have an oven, grill, and the stovetop. So we do use our oven. When the weather's crappy, we'll cook like our pies in there instead of doing them in the ziggy. We do a bit of baking, so we've got my muffins and stuff on the road. And yeah, we use our grill for our toaster. We don't carry a separate toaster. So a lot of the time it'll live the way you just saw it, with the chopping board on top, or it'll live like this. So we carry our tea and our coffee in these little containers, and it all fits nicely there. We've got 3 gas, 1 electric. We've never used the electric. We always use gas. I prefer cooking on gas. It's what I grew up on. It's what I like to cook on. So yeah, I just use that. We do have a cupboard down under there. When we're fully loaded, we'll put tin food, tuna in tins and stuff like that under there. But a lot of the time that's pretty well empty. We put this fusion lock here so we can keep our dishwashing liquid, hand sanitizer and stuff there, and then the sponges can drip into the sink. We wanted to keep those chemicals and stuff up there out of Liam's reach, because he does like playing in the kitchen cupboards. So that's why they're up there. They haven't fallen down. The only time we've broken it is actually when the van was in getting serviced. I think the service guys actually might have lent on it, but what can you do? Our battery management system lives in this cupboard, and then up in this top one we keep our flowers, stuff like that, but it's quite a high cupboard, so we try not to put too much weight up there. We've got rid of our microwave. We don't have enough power, like battery storage and stuff, to run it off-grid properly. We used to use it a fair bit when Liam was little, and we used to reheat little things of food, and we only needed to run it for like 30 seconds to a minute. But now that he eats what we eat, we found we weren't using it, and then whenever we were connected to power, we would forget that we could use it and end up just eating stuff on the stove, because it became sort of second nature. Because like I said, when we're outside, it's probably 75% of our time have been off grid. Even if in a van park, we tend to stay on an unpowered site. So not now, it's too hot, we've got the aircon running. So yeah, we got rid of the microwave, just put this rail in, and that's sort of become a bit of a, while we're parked up, things that we want to put down out of Liam's reach. So we've got on the go biscuits at the moment, smoothie cups. Our bread lives up there. We put the GoPro up there because Liam likes playing with that. So it's just things that we wanted to keep out of his reach now live up there. We hang our fruit, not for travel. We have left it up a few times, and you end up with like smushed fruit up the wall. So we try and remember to take it down, but it is handy having it up out of the way. A couple of hooks for hanging the tea towel, the oven mitt, and Liam's bib. And then we use this cupboard here as storage for all our kitchen items. So as you can sort of see, we don't carry a lot. We've got the one pot with the steamer attachment on top of it. We've got a couple of different oven dishes, some of them for the ziggy, some of them for the oven. Got a cake tin, a muffin tin, a little frying pan for doing like eggs and stuff. And then we've each got a plastic plate or melamine plate and a melamine bowl each. And then your measuring cups and stuff like that. So that's all we've got really. And then the ziggy. And we can cook pretty well everything with that. But there hasn't been a meal we've gone, oh, you know what, we need something else. But maybe, who knows. Cutlery and baby medicine. Second one is knives and our mugs. I put them in here just to show you that's how they travel, but when we're parked up they actually live up here. So we actually carry 4. We've got 2 spares, more for when we're like parked up with people. We can just offer them a cup of tea in our cup and save them having to go to their campsite and grab their own thing. And yeah, knives and stuff, because Liam can't quite get into this one just yet. It won't be much longer. Then your standard kitchen utensils. We've got a few glasses. All they're on is that non-slip matting, and they've never cracked, broken or anything like that. The bottom one is sort of junk cupboard, so we've got stubby holders. I keep my good beer glasses in stubby holders down in this bottom one, and then we've got our glad wrap and stuff, and there's that extra mug. Again, we've been to Cape York and those glasses have survived, so that's worked pretty well for us. We use this top one above the fridge here as our pantry. So we got these containers, so we keep all our sauces and honeys and Vegemites and stuff in that. We've got a couple of cereal boxes that has to rearrange every now and then, but this is sort of your typical look at. Got a big spaghetti container at the back. We've got all our spices and a pull-out drawer. Peanut butter's moved because it didn't fit, and some herbs, and then just like your gravy and your stocks and stuff like that in a container at the back. Like I said, it changes a little bit depending on what we buy, but that's sort of like our staples. That's how it looks. 184 litre fridge freezer. We're running pretty low on stuff at the moment, but we usually try and carry some meat pies and some frozen berries and nuggets, just for those backup days where we haven't got to the shops or something, we can cook something. And then our fridge sort of runs the same. This is for our food scraps. It fits really nicely on this top shelf. We can shove a couple of our Kewpies on that back shelf there, some leftovers, fruit and veg go down in the bottom ones. We are due to go shopping, so it's looking pretty empty at the moment. Like I said, we use the bottom ones for tins, and then down over here we actually keep our wok, spare paper towel, and that also becomes a bit of an overflow for tin food if we fill this as well. I'll jump over to this side. So we have an angle. We used to use it heaps, we haven't used it much lately. I can't afford the extra weight in the car, that's why it travels in here. But usually, like when we're parking up for at least a few days and we set down next and stuff, the angle comes out, we use it like a beer fridge outside. So it's not plugged in here. I can. It runs pretty efficiently, especially when the hot sunny days or we're connected to power. I can run it, but I don't like running those sort of fridges inside. I don't think you're supposed to. So we try not to run it if it's going to be inside. It goes outside and we use it like a beer fridge. But yeah, it travels in there, just sits on a tower, and we just opti strap it to the table just so it doesn't slide around, and it hasn't budged, so we've been pretty happy with that. Jury's still out as to whether we think it was worth bringing in or not, but I always had it. I didn't want to leave it behind. It has proven useful a few times when we did like bulk hookups before the Nullarbor and before Cape York. We put frozen meals and stuff in there. This cupboard here we use for snacks. This one here is sort of I'm going to call it our gaming cupboard. So we've got decks of cards, we've got quiz games, colouring in stuff, baby monitor and spare cables and stuff live up there. So it's sort of just become our, I don't know, junk cupboard, I suppose, the cupboard that you never open at home, because it's kind of the awkward one to get to. And then this one is our Tupperware. So we've got these containers for the smaller stuff, and then the bigger stuff lives over on this side, stacked up. Little esky bag, and then our Yeti cups and stuff live in the middle. Sometimes they move around a little bit, but not enough to ever worry us. Magazines and stuff we pick up along the way, we need to get rid of them. We're no longer near Bowen. And then some pictures up on the wall. I think that's everything. Oh, and now by the front door, so we can fit our anti-flap kit. Actually fits the whole length of this bit of storage down by the wheel arch, and then at the front there we just got a little collapsible shovel that sometimes we use to level the van, so Clem can just open the door, reach and grab that shovel, go. And these are the cables for the lights on the anti-flap kit. So I've installed core lighting on the centre beams, so I just run that cable up and plug them in. So yeah, that's sort of just become the quick grab items down by the door there. Alright, into the back section of the van. So we've got a dual bunk. We've only got one kid, so the top bunk is storage. Washing basket, we do still have the ladder because we didn't have anywhere else to put it and we don't want to throw it out, so we currently carry it. The pram lives up here. We're getting rid of the pram soon. He doesn't really use it anymore. It was very, very helpful for those first 6 to 8 months of our travels, but at the moment it lives up here. We don't use it. If it's not living up here, sometimes it's on the back seat of the car, or sometimes we just tuck it down the side here next to the clem side of the bed if we're using it regularly. But for now it's living up here. The top bunk is rated for 80 kilos. There's still heaps of spare up here. Liam's trike, because we don't want him to have that all the time. He still needs us to sort of supervise him. He likes going down ramps, so we sort of monitor when he can have that. And then the baby carrier lives at the back there because we haven't used that for a while either. Then we got his bunk, nice and simple. We've got this mesh screen that I just tuck in under the mattress, so we can zip him in. He's almost outgrown that now, so we zip him in for bedtime when he goes to sleep, or once he's asleep we open it up and just leave it sort of half height so that he can't roll out, and that works pretty well. There is under bunk storage under that bunk. It's really awkward to get to. We wanted to get a hatch installed to the outside, so if you're looking at buying one of these vans, see if that's an option for you to get an external hatch for that under bunk storage. I'll try and lift it up, but without gas struts it's really awkward. So this is our junk cupboard, our proper junk cupboard. So like we got our towels, we got rotation of Liam's toys, the fish, the tackle box and the fishing rods, and spare blankets. That's pretty well this. We organise it and then we have to get something out and it just ends up becoming a bit of a mess. But yeah, we do use everything under here, we just limit it. So Clemens probably explained in previous videos, we rotate Liam's toys because he does get bored of them pretty quickly. So the ones that he's not playing with at the moment live under his bed, and then in his cupboard, that whole bottom section, it's a toy cupboard for him, so he just pulls out what he wants. We only have the one kid, like I said, so shorts, t-shirts, jumpers and pajamas, and then shoes. Behind here is that inverter that I told you about yesterday. So if we want to run something off that inverter, I just got to reach in and flick the switch. That's when we're off grid. When we're on grid, we don't obviously need to worry about it. So when we're on grid, we use that power point there. When we're off grid, I actually pull that out, run it down through this hole, and plug it into the inverter. What that power cord does is it feeds this power board. That's something I just installed myself, so that we didn't have to try and plug everything into that inverter. It's now just running off that power board. So that's the washing machine. Washing machine always stays connected to that, and then we've usually got an extension lead that sits up here. It usually hangs from that hook, but it's obviously fallen down. And that's how we used to run the microwave, or if we need to use our laptops while they're on charge, we can just drape that across and sit at the table and charge our laptops while we're using them. It's not perfect, but it was a much cheaper alternative than getting the inverter wired into all the power points of the van for only really needing a couple of items at a time. Same with like the little vacuum cleaner that we got. We can just plug it in up here and charge it. My drone, I can just plug it up here and charge it. So that works pretty well for us. We do have the washing machine. We use it daily. If we're off grid, I think it works out that on the short cycle, it's only about 30 litres, so we'll try and wait until our last day and then just use the leftover water in the tanks to do a load of washing. But like when we're in a van park like now, we're just pumping out a load a day, and it's working pretty well. I installed this shelf. We just keep Liam's nappies, wet wipes, the little washing line thing, and the bigger esky bag live up there. We used to keep the toilet chemicals and stuff up there, but no, it evolved and they now live down here. Liam knows not to touch them. He knows not to come into the bathroom as a whole, so yeah, as long as that stays. Alright, the bathroom, or ensuite, whatever you want to call it. This has changed a few times. So we used to have a glass door here and it hinged off at this point. So if you can imagine, or just watch our previous walkthrough, as it swung out, it would actually hit the toilet, and they only gave you a small walkway to get into the shower, which was fine for Clem and I, but to try and bathe Liam, especially in those early days, it didn't really give you a lot of room. When we did the Udina data track, we actually damaged one of those hinges, so we used that as an excuse to just rip that door out. We hated it, and then we weighed it, or I jumped online, and it was like 16 to 18 kilos for that door. Yeah, we hated it and it was heavy, so we got rid of it, and I just installed this shower rod from Bunnings. So I just mounted it to the frame, ran it up, and we're actually using cable ties at the moment, because when I installed this, Bunnings was actually out of shower curtain rings, and so was the Kmart. We were in a small town. I do have the rings now, I just haven't got around to changing it, and the cable ties worked so well. Again, fusion lock up on the wall. Those items travel in there for normal roads. This comes down and lives on that bottom shelf. If we're going to hit the dirt, everything comes out of that fusion lock, so nothing is bouncing. But otherwise it stays pretty well. We always travel with this down on the ground. We wrap it up in the bath mat and chuck it in the corner. Toilet brush, usually there's a bucket with a lid. We use like a nappy bin, sits in front of that, and neither of them have ever moved. And then vacuum cleaner, new addition. they're starting toilet training. And then in here is just washing powder, some extra bath toys for Liam that we rotate through, toilet bag each, and then the more harsh chemicals live in there along with the cloths. We use this top one because it's awkward to get to past out as spare toilet paper, and then I've got my toilet bag and Clem's makeup and stuff lives up in there. We just share. Fusion lock here, again, soap over the sink so it drips into the sink, and then toothbrushes. I think I just ran out of things to say. We now just have hooks for our towels. Liam has this hook, and we tend to use this one for like if we've been swimming or something, we just hang up like those wet clothes or something there. You wring them out first so they're not just going to drip everywhere, or we hang them from the shower rod. So yeah, that's worked pretty well for us for this toilet, I suppose, while we're here. So we use the blue or sometimes the lavender in the waste holding tank, and we don't have a flush tank. Some vans have a separate tank that you got to fill up with water and put a chemical in, and that's what flushes. So we just use the pink one in a spray bottle. Give the bowl a quick spray before you use it, and that does wonders. Okay, I think I have given you a pretty thorough run through of the van. I'll open this up now so you can sort of see. So as you can see, spare jumpers up the back, got our swags in there, and then these tubs full of Clem's crafts. I've got an extra carton of beer in there at the moment. Oh, and our annex lives under there.
To the bathroom, please.
Watch out, kiddo.
Come on, mate.
We're almost done.
To the bathroom.
So yeah, I hope that has given you an insight into our van and how we use it. I will add, we just installed these. We were looking at those like drop bear storage, but they weren't available when we were looking, so anyway, we just ordered them, and that's where we keep our laptops and our books and tissues and stuff like that. Anyway, I hope that gives you an insight into how we use our van. Everyone's going to use it a little bit differently. But yeah, this is what's worked for us over the last 13 months after a few changes along the way. So anyway, let us know in the comments if there's something you think we could be doing better, or just let us know if you like what we've done. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and feel free to go over, have a look at some of our other videos. We do like a bit of a vlog of our travels around Australia, so I think they're pretty fun. See what you reckon. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.